Welcome to Headline to Heartline. Some stories begin at a palace door, where time is measured not by clocks, but by how long power can keep a question outside. 1 week is already passed in 2026, and time is running fast. Today's headline is the Epstein Files Clock, Andrew, Virginia, and the cost of delay. Because what we are watching is not a single document release or a single decision, but a pattern that is settled over the aftermath: delay, silence, and distance. Together, they form a system that moves slowly, not by accident, but by design. And that slowness is deeply frustrating, because in the space created by delay, survivors do not feel honored, accountability does not feel urgent, and the people most closely associated with the scandal appear to find comfort faster than the public finds clarity. Today, we will trace that pattern carefully through 3 interconnected developments: the slow release of the Epstein files, the prolonged and troubling quiet from Australian authorities following Virginia Giuffre's death, and the new calculations surrounding Prince Andrew after the fallout. At the center of this moment is the slow, fragmented release of records tied to Jeffrey Epstein. According to the Justice Department, only a small fraction of the material has been made public so far, described as less than 1% of what may ultimately fall under the disclosure law passed in late 2025, while officials acknowledge that millions of pages remain under review and redaction. This is not a technical footnote, it is the mechanism, because every page must be examined for victim-identifying information, uncharged third parties, sealed grand jury material, and international legal exposure. And this is where the clock becomes more than a metaphor. When disclosure arrives in fragments, the public does not receive a narrative, it receives an atmosphere, a lingering sense of wrongdoing without the stabilizing weight of a complete record. That uncertainty produces 2 simultaneous realities: outrage that cannot resolve, and fatigue that slowly dulls the demand for answers. This is the hidden cost of delay. It is not only that justice is postponed, but that attention is redistributed. The longer the process stretches, the easier it becomes for institutions to call it ongoing, and for those with resources to treat it as manageable background noise. The files move slowly, the world moves on, and what should be urgent begins to compete with everything else, until delay turns into distance and distance turns into protection. But delay has consequences beyond paperwork. It shapes how memory hardens. It decides which stories remain urgent and which quietly recede. And this is where the name Virginia Giuffre matters. She was not just a witness or a headline. She became the moral center of this story, the survivor whose public courage forced institutions to respond at all. Her death in Western Australia shifted the narrative from testimony to procedure, from a human voice to a legal process. Authorities confirmed there were no immediate suspicious circumstances, and under Australian law, the deeper accounting comes through coronial findings that can take months or longer. On paper, this is normal, but in a case this sensitive, silence itself becomes noisy. This was not an ordinary death, and when it is treated as one, the risk is not just delay, but erasure. Months have already passed since her death, and with each passing week, the possibility of clarity softens. A woman whose life reshaped public understanding of abuse, power, and silence now risks being remembered through absence, her name gently folded into procedure rather than honored with the urgency and transparency her story demands. Halfway through, if this kind of careful, human-centered reporting matters to you, please like and subscribe and stay with me. It is against this unsettled backdrop that the situation of Prince Andrew takes on renewed meaning. After being ordered to vacate Royal Lodge, his future is no longer simply a question of housing. Remaining within Britain would keep him inside the domestic royal orbit, within reach of a press ecosystem that reactivates every time the Epstein story resurfaces. Royal commentators have suggested another path: extended residence in the Middle East. Often framed as exile, it is better understood as distance, not legal immunity, not disappearance, but a quieter perimeter. Fewer cameras, softer daily scrutiny, and physical separation from the jurisdictions most actively engaged in document releases. In a scandal defined by unfinished disclosure, geography itself becomes a form of risk management. Taken together, these developments do not require coordination to align. Giuffre's death channels accountability into procedure where it can slow and quiet. The Epstein files move cautiously because the legal cost of haste is enormous and institutions are built to minimize risk, not accelerate moral resolution. And Andrew's apparent search for distance reflects anticipation of further uneven revelations rather than closure. What feels to the public like inertia is in practice containment. This is why the moment feels so unsatisfactory, not because process is unnecessary, but because it creates imbalance. Those who suffered are asked to wait for recognition and resolution, while those associated with the scandal appear to organize comfort and calm. Justice begins to feel theoretical, something always approaching, never quite arriving. Thank you for spending this time with me. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time back at that same palace door where the knocking continues even when those inside hope that silence will be enough.